Wait, what? Your brain basically has this ancient smoke alarm.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Built purely for survival.
Exactly. I mean, it was built for predators, physical danger, injury. It's this evolutionary masterpiece. But right now, in the modern world, it's being triggered by, like, push notifications.
Oh, absolutely.
A medical bill, social pressure, and just that glowing rectangle in your pocket that keeps whispering, check me again.
Which is just utterly exhausting.
It really is. Welcome, deep divers. If you're listening to this and you just feel, well, completely overwhelmed by your inbox or just life in general, today's deep dive is definitely for you.
We are going to dig into some really fascinating biology today.
Yeah, we are exploring the whole human alarm system and exactly why it feels so broken in 2026. We've got a huge stack of sources, too. We're pulling from 2024 and 2025 medical reviews, the World Health Organization, CDC, the APA, and Harvard Health.
It's a lot of data.
It is. But our mission is simple. We are figuring out the mechanics of why you, the listener, feel so constantly on edge.
And right off the bat, I want to establish the core thesis here. I want to say this really clearly. Your fight or flight system is not broken.
Wait, it's not. Because it feels broken.
I know it does, but it's not. It is perfectly mismatched. You are not overreacting. I mean, your nervous system is reacting normally to an abnormal amount of unresolved pressure.
Okay, wow. That is incredibly validating to hear.
Yeah, the system was built for short physical threats, not a constant drip of, like, digital and societal anxiety.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to understand why we feel so stressed, we kind of have to meet the hardware running the show.
Right, the brain's security team.
Exactly. So introduce us. What are the components here?
Well, let's start with the amygdala. It's this little almond-shaped structure deep in the brain, and it operates as your primary threat detector.
The smoke alarm.
Exactly, the smoke alarm. But the critical thing to understand is that the amygdala does not do logic at all.
Zero logic.
Zero. It doesn't calmly pause and ask, is this definitely a house fire? It urgently asks, could this be dangerous enough that we should react right now?
Because I guess evolutionarily, pausing to analyze a rustling bush means you might get eaten.
Right, you become lunch. It prioritizes speed over accuracy.
So a false alarm is way safer than a missed alarm. Like if it's the wind, you run away, you burn some calories, but you live.
Exactly. That's the evolutionary bet your brain makes every single second. So when the amygdala detects a threat, it sends this distress signal to the hypothalamus.
Which is like the command center.
Yes, the command center. It communicates with the rest of the body. And this triggers a really fast relay system. Harvard Health details this beautifully. The hypothalamus activates the sympathetic nervous system.
Oh, the gas pedal.
The gas pedal, exactly. Which then signals the adrenal glands to just dump adrenaline into your bloodstream.
And that's when you feel it, right? Like physically.
Oh, yeah. Your heart rate spikes, breathing gets rapid, pupils dilate, and non-essential systems like digestion just shut down.
So all your energy goes to your muscles. So the sympathetic nervous system is like it's the airbag deploying in your car. Instant explosive saves your life.
That is a perfect analogy. But there's a second system involved, too, the slower one.
Right, the HPA axis.
Yes. Hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal glands. The Cleveland Clinic calls this the body's main system for sustained stress.
Okay, so the airbag goes off with adrenaline, and then what does the HPA axis do?
It deploys cortisol. That hormone keeps your energy mobilized and your body on high alert long after the initial shock.
So if the sympathetic system is the airbag deploying in a crash, the HPA axis is like setting the hazard lights blinking for the next 3 hours while you wait for the tow truck.
Exactly. It's a slow, steady drain on the battery to keep you aware. And what's fascinating is that this exact chain reaction was meant to save us in the wild.
Right, because you need cortisol to sprint up a tree away from a tiger.
Yes. But if the airbag deploys in a cubicle, what does that actually look like?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Because we say fight or flight, but if I'm at my desk dealing with an angry boss, I'm not literally throwing punches at my monitor.
Right. And you aren't sprinting out the front door either.
Hopefully not. So what is the modern equivalent?
Well, the classic phrase is too narrow. We have to expand it to fight, flight, freeze, and fawn.
Oh, the 4 Fs.
Exactly. And they map to modern behaviors in really surprising ways. Like, fight today isn't physical combat. Your threshold for provocation just drops to 0.
So that looks like steady anger.
Yes. Irritability, defensiveness, or snapping at your partner over, how they loaded the dishwasher.
Okay. Guilty. So what about flight, if you're not running away?
Flight is psychological avoidance. It's staying incredibly busy with menial tasks to avoid a stressor. Or Most commonly now, it is doom scrolling on social media for 3 hours.
Wait, hold on. I have to push back on that.
Go ahead.
Calling doom scrolling flight feels like a stretch. How is sitting perfectly still on a couch, staring at a screen, literally fleeing a predator?
I know it sounds contradictory, but you have to look at the brain.
Yeah.
Your nervous system is flooded with cortisol from a stressor, right?
Like a looming deadline.
Exactly. But your motor cortex isn't engaged. There's nowhere to physically run. So the mind flees into digital distraction.
Oh, wow. So you're escaping the discomfort.
Yes. The dopamine hits from scrolling act as a localized anesthetic. You are migrating your consciousness into the feed to flee the anxiety.
That is terrifyingly relatable. Wow. Okay, so if doom scrolling is flight, what is freeze? Because sitting numbly on the couch feels like freezing to me.
If you're engaging with content, you are fleeing. Freeze is the deer in the headlights. It's system shutdown.
Like brain fog.
Profound brain fog. It's the inability to make a simple decision, like what to eat for dinner. Your amygdala calculates you can't fight, you can't outrun it, so it initiates a shutdown.
Heart rate drops, everything stalls.
Exactly. And the last one is fawn, which is an appeasement strategy. In the wild, it's submitting to a predator.
And in 2026?
It looks like intense people-pleasing, over-apologizing, manipulating your environment to keep everyone calm, usually at the expense of your own boundaries.
So a broken fight-or-flight system isn't just panic attacks, it's burnout, workaholism, emotional eating.
Exactly. It's all of it.
Okay, so if the amygdala is the sensitive alarm blaring all the time, what turns it off?
That is the job of the prefrontal cortex.
Yeah.
The brake pedal.
The adult in the room, basically.
Right. It sits behind your forehead. Executive function, judgment, impulse control. It looks at the environment and says, hey, that's a shadow, not a bear. Stand down.
But looking at the CDC and APA data, it feels like everyone's brake pedal is just faulty. Why isn't logic working?
Because under high anxiety, the biological balance of power shifts. NIMH research shows that during intense stress, the brain literally reroutes blood flow away from the prefrontal cortex to the amygdala.
Wait, it physically takes power away from the logical brain.
Yes. The alarm gets louder, the brake gets weaker. You can't just logic yourself out of a panic attack because the logic center is being suppressed. Anxiety isn't a weakness, it's a brain state imbalance.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. What happens when that imbalance sticks around, like with trauma?
Yes. Trauma alters the architecture of the brain, specifically involving the hippocampus.
Which does memory and context, right?
Yes. It stamps a time and place tag on memories. But during severe trauma, the flood of stress hormones disrupts it.
So the memory doesn't get tagged as being in the past.
Exactly. The VA and NIMH explain that the nervous system learns a new rule. Last time, danger came fast. Next time, react before thinking.
Wow. So trauma is literally a body memory.
Yes. A smell or a sound triggers the amygdala to react as if the trauma is happening right now because the hippocampus failed to file it as history.
It's incredible when you realize the body is just fiercely protecting you. It feels like self-sabotage, but it's really just survival learning.
It is highly protective in a war zone, but it causes misfires in normal, safe life.
But the environment in 2026 never actually feels safe, does it? The tiger never leaves the room.
And this is the core of the mismatch. Modern stressors do not offer a physical release.
Right, because you can't punch inflation.
Exactly. You cannot outrun a medical bill. You cannot freeze your way out of a mortgage.
Or negotiate with an algorithm that gives your video 6 views and 1 bot comment about crypto.
Exactly. But the body does not distinguish between a physical threat and a psychological threat to your ego or livelihood. An email from your boss at 9:47 p.m. activates the same hormones as a predator.
So using the medical reviews we looked at, I love this analogy. Stress is the bill, allostatic load is the interest.
It captures it perfectly.
Like you can survive paying the stress bill once, but paying the interest every single day for years bankrupts your body.
Yes. Allostatic load is the long-term wear and tear on your body from constantly adapting to stress.
And the sources show modern life is a factory for allostatic load. Look at phones. A 2025 APA poll found 62% of adults have anxiety without their phones.
The phone is a pocket amygdala trigger. It delivers headlines, outrage, comparison, and it isolates us.
Right, and humans are social mammals. Isolation raises the baseline alarm.
Exactly. And then you add work stress. The WHO notes 12 billion lost working days globally every year due to depression and anxiety.
12 billion, that's just staggering. And a 2024 NAMI poll showed 52% of employees are burned out.
Burnout is the terminal stage of allostatic load. The adrenal glands blunt their cortisol production because they're exhausted. You experience a profound depletion of cellular energy.
So what does this all mean? If I'm stuck with the phone, the mortgage, the algorithm, how do I lower my allostatic load? And please do not tell me to just take a deep breath and think
Hey,
positively.
definitely not. Positive thinking cannot override a physiological survival response.
Thank goodness. So what does work?
The nervous system needs repeated signals of safety. Since the danger signals are constant, safety signals must be intentional and repeated.
Like what? What is a biological signal of safety?
Sleep is a major one. It clears neurotoxins, physical movement, giving that adrenaline somewhere to go.
So the body realizes you escaped the threat.
Right. And social connection. Laughing with a friend tells the mammalian brain, the tribe is safe. We are playing. The predator is not here.
I love that. If we're laughing, we aren't running. What about people with trauma, though, where the alarm is stuck?
That requires specialized trauma-informed care. But NIMH data shows that cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, actually alters fear-related brain activity.
Oh, wow. It physically changes the brain.
Yes, it strengthens the neural pathways between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. It upgrades the brake line.
It puts the adult back in the room.
Exactly. Because the goal isn't to live with zero stress. That's impossible. The goal is building a nervous system that knows how to return to baseline.
Okay, we have covered so much ground today. Let me rapidly distill this for everyone. Number one, your amygdala isn't broken. It is doing exactly what it was built to do.
Right, to protect you.
Number two, the modern world just feeds ancient circuits too many unresolved inputs. Number three, fight or flight includes freeze and fawn. It's not just panic.
It's doom scrolling and people-pleasing too.
Number four, chronic stress creates real physical wear and tear through allostatic load, the interest on the bill. And number five, recovery is all about returning to baseline with biological safety signals.
A perfect summary.
And now, shifting into my deep dive AI Team Jelly voice for a second, if you want to give your prefrontal cortex a tiny dopamine hit the good kind, go ahead and like this, subscribe, and click the affiliate links.
And check out the fourth wall merchandise.
Yes, you can look highly fashionable while recovering from your allostatic load. Drop a comment with what we should deep dive into next, too.
It really helps. And, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Lay it on us.
Your nervous system is not weak. It may just be tired of treating every notification like a tiger. The next time your phone buzzes, ask yourself, is it a fire? Or just a spark trying to steal my attention?
Oh, that is so good. A fire or a spark. Deep divers, take care of your hardware this week. We'll see you next time.